You think you're eating healthy, a fresh salad with crisp greens and colorful vegetables. But what you pour on top could be sabotaging your heart, your kidneys, and your blood pressure. Hidden sodium, dangerous preservatives, sugar levels rivaling candy bars. For seniors, these so-called healthy choices can trigger serious complications. The salad dressing industry generates over $3 billion annually in the United States alone, and much of that profit comes from bottles filled with ingredients that work against your body. Today, we're exposing 9 salad dressings to avoid at all costs, and the 2 that are actually safe. Coming in at number 9, we've got Hidden Valley Ranch. Hidden Valley Ranch, the bottle with the farm on it. The one sitting in nearly every American refrigerator. They promise you creamy, wholesome goodness inspired by a California ranch. But what's really hiding in that thick white dressing? The smell hits you first when you open the cap. That slightly tangy, almost chemical undertone beneath the buttermilk. It smells nothing like actual ranch. Let's start with sodium. A single 2 tablespoon serving of Hidden Valley Original Ranch contains 260 milligrams of sodium. That might not sound alarming until you realize most people don't stop at 2 tablespoons. Pour a generous amount over your salad, which is what most of us do, and you're looking at 500 to 700 milligrams in one sitting. For seniors managing high blood pressure, that's a silent assault on your cardiovascular system. According to the CDC, approximately 74% of adults over 60 have hypertension. That means 3 out of 4 seniors are at elevated risk every time they reach for this bottle. But sodium isn't the only problem. Hidden Valley Ranch contains monosodium glutamate, better known as MSG. While the FDA considers it generally recognized as safe, many seniors report headaches, flushing, and heart palpitations after consuming foods with MSG. If you're on blood pressure medication or heart meds, this additive could interfere with how your body responds to treatment. Then there's the ingredient list itself. Phosphoric acid, calcium disodium EDT, artificial flavors. These aren't ingredients from a ranch, they're chemicals from a laboratory. The creamy texture you love? It comes from a cocktail of thickeners and emulsifiers designed to extend shelf life, not protect your health. And here's where the betrayal cuts deepest. Hidden Valley markets itself as the dressing that makes vegetables enjoyable. They want you to believe that pouring their product on a salad transforms it into a healthy meal. But when the dressing itself contains more sodium than a bag of potato chips, more additives than a frozen TV dinner, and enough preservatives to last years on a shelf, you have to ask yourself, is this really making my salad healthier? Or is it turning my healthy choice into a hidden danger? For seniors with kidney issues, the phosphoric acid is particularly concerning. Your kidneys work overtime to filter phosphates, and when they're already compromised, every unnecessary milligram adds strain. The ranch you drizzle without thinking could be pushing your kidneys closer to failure. The bottle promises farm-fresh flavor. The reality is factory-processed chemicals dressed up in country packaging. At number 8, we have Kraft Thousand Island. Kraft Thousand Island. That familiar orange-pink dressing with the relish specks floating inside. Kraft has been a household name for generations. Your parents probably trusted it. Your grandparents too. But trust built over decades can blind us to dangers hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about what Kraft doesn't want you to focus on. High fructose corn syrup. It's right there on the ingredient label, but most people glaze over it. High fructose corn syrup has been linked to obesity, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and increased inflammation throughout the body. For seniors already managing blood sugar or taking diabetes medication, this ingredient is a direct threat. A 2 tablespoon serving of Kraft Thousand Island contains 4 grams of sugar. That doesn't sound like much until you realize that sugar is coming from one of the most processed, inflammatory forms available. And again, who actually measures 2 tablespoons? Most people pour freely. Before you know it, you've added 12 to 16 grams of sugar to what you thought was a healthy salad. That's the equivalent of eating 4 sugar cubes on top of your lettuce. But the sugar is just the beginning. Kraft Thousand Island also contains soybean oil, one of the most highly processed, inflammatory oils in the American food supply. Studies have linked excessive soybean oil consumption to obesity, diabetes, and even neurological conditions. For seniors concerned about cognitive health, this should raise immediate red flags. Then there's the sodium. At 200 milligrams per serving, it adds up quickly. Combined with the sugar and inflammatory oils, you're creating a perfect storm for cardiovascular stress. One study from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that high sodium intake combined with added sugars significantly increases the risk of heart disease. Exactly the combination Kraft delivers in every bottle. Kraft built its reputation on convenience and taste. They promised busy families an easy way to enjoy meals together. But convenience came at a cost they never advertised. The tangy sweetness that makes Thousand Island addictive is engineered in laboratories, not kitchens. Every ingredient is optimized for shelf stability and flavor addiction, not for your health. Here's a question worth considering. Isn't it strange how billion-dollar food companies keep having recalls and health controversies, yet their products remain on every shelf in America? The answer is simple. Profit comes first, your health comes last. And that creamy orange dressing you've trusted for years? It's been quietly working against you the entire time. The global salad dressing market is projected to reach $23 billion by 2028, and companies like Kraft are fighting for every penny of market share, even if it means compromising your health. Now at number 7, Wishbone Italian. Wishbone Italian dressing. The classic. The one with the little Italian flag colors on the label. They promise you authentic Italian flavor, zesty, herby, perfect for light salads and marinades. But authentic is the last word that should describe what's inside that bottle. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Wishbone Italian contains high fructose corn syrup. Yes, even in a savory Italian dressing. Why would a tangy vinaigrette need corn syrup? Because it triggers your brain's pleasure centers. It makes you crave more. It keeps you buying bottle after bottle while your blood sugar quietly spikes. For seniors managing diabetes, this hidden sugar is dangerous. You chose Italian dressing because you thought it was lighter than ranch or Thousand Island. You thought you were making a smart choice. But Wishbone slipped sugar into a place you never expected to find it. The American Diabetes Association reports that over 29% of Americans aged 65 and older have diabetes. That's nearly 1 in 3 seniors who are being blindsided by sugar hidden in places like this. Now let's talk sodium. A 2-tablespoon serving contains 240 milligrams. Use it liberally, as most people do on a large salad, and you're approaching 500 milligrams or more. For seniors on blood pressure medication, this sodium load can counteract the very pills you're taking to stay healthy. The ingredient list reveals more troubling additions. Natural flavors, a vague term that can hide dozens of chemical compounds. Xanthan gum, calcium disodium EDTA, polysorbate 60. These aren't ingredients from an Italian grandmother's kitchen. They're industrial additives designed to keep the dressing stable on store shelves for months, even years. And here's the texture test. Real Italian dressing, the kind made with olive oil, vinegar, and fresh herbs, separates naturally. You shake it before each use, but Wishbone stays perfectly emulsified, unnaturally smooth, because of chemical stabilizers that your body was never designed to process. The betrayal is in the marketing. That Italian flag, those herb illustrations, the word classic printed proudly on the label. Everything suggests tradition, authenticity, and wholesome Mediterranean cooking. But the reality is a factory-produced liquid engineered for profit, not for health. For seniors with kidney disease, the combination of sodium and chemical additives forces your kidneys to work harder. Every drizzle adds strain. Every salad becomes a risk you didn't sign up for. Chronic kidney disease affects approximately 37 million American adults, and most don't even know they have it. The kidneys are already working overtime filtering blood and removing waste. Adding unnecessary sodium and chemical preservatives only accelerates the decline. Most people never learn the truth about what's hiding in their salad dressing, but stick around. We'll reveal safer alternatives at the very end of this video. Number 6 brings us to Ken's Steakhouse Creamy Caesar. Ken's Steakhouse Creamy Caesar. That rich, garlicky, Parmesan-laden dressing that transforms ordinary romaine into something restaurant quality. Ken's has become a staple in American homes, sitting proudly next to salad bowls at family dinners. But what if that creamy indulgence is silently attacking your cardiovascular system? Let's start with the numbers. A 2-tablespoon serving of Ken's Creamy Caesar contains 170 calories and 18 grams of fat. But here's the catch. Most Caesar salad lovers don't measure. They drizzle generously. They dip their croutons. A typical serving easily doubles or triples, pushing fat intake past 50 grams from dressing alone. For seniors managing cholesterol or recovering from heart procedures, this is reckless. The sodium content is equally alarming. At 280 milligrams per serving, Ken's Creamy Caesar rivals salty snacks. Use it generously, and you're consuming over 700 milligrams of sodium on what you thought was a healthy salad. Your blood pressure medication is fighting a battle it wasn't designed to win. Then there's the ingredient list. Soybean oil, highly inflammatory and linked to metabolic dysfunction. Parmesan cheese. Sounds wholesome until you realize it's loaded with sodium. Egg yolks and anchovy paste add more cholesterol to an already heavy dressing. And scattered throughout are preservatives and stabilizers that extend shelf life at the expense of your health. Ken's Steakhouse built its brand on restaurant-quality flavor at home. They want you to believe you're getting the same Caesar dressing served at upscale steakhouses. But real Steakhouse Caesars are made fresh with quality olive oil and fresh Parmesan. What Ken's delivers is a shelf-stable imitation loaded with the cheapest oils and maximum sodium. The texture tells the truth. That thick, almost gelatinous consistency? It doesn't come from natural ingredients. It comes from gums, emulsifiers, and thickeners that coat your tongue and your arteries in equal measure. When you open a fresh bottle and catch that sharp, slightly acrid smell beneath the garlic, that's the soybean oil oxidizing. Real Caesar made with olive oil smells clean and fresh. For seniors taking blood thinners or heart medications, the high fat and sodium content creates unpredictable interactions. Your salad isn't just unhealthy, it could be interfering with life-saving treatments. The Caesar dressing you've trusted for years isn't a friend. It's a silent adversary disguised in creamy white packaging. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It's free and it means you'll never miss these exposés. Sliding into number 5, Newman's Own Ranch. Newman's Own Ranch. The brand with the famous actor's face on the label. The company that donates profits to charity. It feels good to buy Newman's Own. You're eating well and doing good at the same time. But does charitable giving excuse unhealthy ingredients? Let's look at what's actually in the bottle. Newman's Own Ranch contains 310 milligrams of sodium per 2 tablespoon serving. That's higher than Hidden Valley, higher than most competitors. This is a startling revelation. You bought Newman's Own because it felt healthier, more trustworthy. But the sodium content tells a different story. The ingredient list features soybean oil, the same inflammatory, highly processed oil found in cheaper brands. There's also distilled vinegar, sugar, and a parade of thickeners and preservatives. The Newman's Own label may look premium, but the ingredients are remarkably similar to budget competitors. And here's where the betrayal stings. Newman's Own built its reputation on quality and integrity. Paul Newman himself championed the brand as an alternative to processed, artificial foods. But somewhere along the way, corporate reality overtook the founding vision. What started as a mission became just another product on the shelf, with the same concerning ingredients as everyone else. For seniors with high blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart conditions, that 310 milligrams of sodium per serving adds up dangerously fast. The charitable donations don't protect your arteries. The famous face on the label doesn't lower your blood pressure. Consider this statistic. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium daily for most adults, especially those with hypertension. A generous pour of Newman's Own Ranch can consume a third of that limit before you've even touched the rest of your meal. The brand promises feel-good eating. The reality is feel-bad sodium, inflammatory oils, and ingredients that belong in industrial food production, not on your dinner plate. You deserve better than marketing dressed up as morality. The lesson here is clear. Don't let a famous face or charitable mission blind you to what's actually in the bottle. Read the labels carefully. Check the sodium. Question everything. What's the worst dressing you've ever opened? Drop it in the comments below. At the number 4 spot, Marie's Creamy Ranch. Marie's Creamy Ranch. The refrigerated dressing that sits in the produce section, right next to the fresh vegetables. The positioning is genius and deeply misleading. By placing Marie's among the fresh produce, grocery stores create an unconscious association. Fresh lettuce, fresh tomatoes, fresh dressing, but there's nothing fresh about what's hiding inside that jar. Marie's Creamy Ranch contains 120 calories and 13 grams of fat per 2 tablespoons serving. The calorie density is staggering. Pour it liberally, as the refrigerated premium positioning encourages, and you're adding 300 to 400 calories of pure fat to your salad. For seniors trying to manage weight or reduce cardiovascular strain, this defeats the entire purpose of eating vegetables. The ingredient list reveals the truth behind the premium image. Soybean oil, buttermilk, egg yolks, salt, sugar, preservatives. The refrigeration isn't because the ingredients are fresher, it's because the formula contains slightly fewer stabilizers than shelf-stable competitors. But the core problems remain: inflammatory oils, excessive sodium, and hidden sugars. At 170 milligrams of sodium per serving, Marie's isn't as high as some competitors. But combined with the calorie and fat density, you're consuming a cardiovascular burden with every bite. And because Marie's is positioned as premium, most people pour more generously, assuming they're making a healthier choice. Here's the sensory deception. Marie's has a thick, rich texture that coats lettuce leaves luxuriously. It feels indulgent, special, worth the extra cost. But that coating isn't nutrition. It's fat clinging to your vegetables, turning a healthy base into a caloric landmine. The viscosity is so heavy that 1 tablespoon weighs your fork down noticeably. The betrayal is in the placement. By positioning next to fresh produce, Marie's exploits your assumption that refrigerated means healthier. But the cold case is just a marketing strategy, not a health guarantee. A 2023 consumer survey found that 67% of shoppers believe refrigerated dressings are healthier than shelf-stable options, a perception companies like Marie's actively cultivate. For seniors managing diabetes, the hidden sugars, yes, even savory ranch contains sugar, can destabilize blood glucose. The premium price offers no protection. The refrigerated positioning offers no safety. You're paying more for the illusion of freshness while consuming the same problems as every other ranch dressing on the market. Moving to number 3, Brianna's Home-Style Blush Wine Vinaigrette. Brianna's Home-Style Blush Wine Vinaigrette. The elegant bottle, the sophisticated flavor profile, the word home-style printed right on the label. Everything about Brianna's suggests refined, thoughtful ingredients crafted with care. But elegance and safety aren't the same thing. Let's cut straight to the sugar content. Brianna's Blush Wine Vinaigrette contains 5 grams of sugar per 2 tablespoon serving. That's more than some dessert toppings. In a dressing marketed as light, wine-based, and sophisticated, this sugar load is a betrayal of the highest order. For seniors managing diabetes or pre-diabetes, this hidden sugar is particularly dangerous. You chose a vinaigrette specifically to avoid the heavy creaminess of ranch or Caesar. You assumed blush wine meant tangy and dry, but Brianna's added sugar to smooth out the acidity, transforming a potentially healthy choice into a blood sugar spike waiting to happen. The sodium content compounds the problem. At 130 milligrams per serving, it's moderate by industry standards. But combined with the sugar, you're stressing multiple body systems simultaneously. Your pancreas handles the glucose surge. Your kidneys process the sodium. Your cardiovascular system bears the cumulative burden. The ingredient list reveals more concerning additions. High fructose corn syrup, yes, even in a wine vinaigrette. Soybean oil, natural flavors that could hide dozens of undisclosed compounds. Xanthan gum, sodium benzoate as a preservative. If you've ever wondered why your stomach feels unsettled after a simple salad, these additives could be the culprit. The home-style label is particularly misleading. No home cook adds high fructose corn syrup to their vinaigrette. No family recipe calls for sodium benzoate. What Brianna's calls home-style is actually factory-style, dressed up in pretty packaging. For seniors with heart conditions, the sugar and sodium combination creates stress your cardiovascular system doesn't need. Every salad becomes a gamble. Every drizzle adds risk. The sophisticated bottle belongs on a Pinterest board, not in your refrigerator. There is a safer way to dress your salads without the hidden sugars and chemicals. Don't go anywhere. We'll reveal the solution at the very end of this video. At number 2, Bolthouse Farms Chunky Blue Cheese. Bolthouse Farms Chunky Blue Cheese, the brand that positions itself as the healthy alternative. The yogurt-based dressing, the lower calorie counts, the clean green labeling. Bolthouse Farms wants you to believe they've cracked the code. Indulgent flavor without the guilt. But what if the health halo is hiding serious concerns? First, let's acknowledge what Bolthouse gets right. At 35 calories per 2 tablespoon serving, the calorie count is genuinely lower than competitors. The yogurt base provides some protein. On paper, it seems like a smart choice, but paper doesn't tell the whole story. Bolthouse Farms Chunky Blue Cheese contains 125 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's lower than many competitors, but for seniors on strict sodium restrictions, particularly those with congestive heart failure or advanced kidney disease, every milligram matters. And because Bolthouse markets itself as healthy, people pour more freely. The perceived virtue becomes a license to overindulge. The ingredient list reveals hidden concerns. While yogurt forms the base, the dressing also contains modified food starch, xanthan gum, and natural flavors. These industrial additives keep the texture consistent and the flavor appealing, but they're not what you'd find in homemade blue cheese dressing. And here's a critical point about the yogurt claim. The cultured dressing base sounds probiotic, gut-friendly, healthful. But by the time the dressing is processed, bottled, and shipped across the country, any beneficial bacteria have likely been destroyed. You're getting the calories of yogurt without the probiotic benefits. Research from Stanford University found that most commercially processed yogurt-based products retain less than 10% of their original probiotic cultures after manufacturing and storage. Why do you think the FDA allows brands to use health-sounding ingredients while the actual health benefits have been processed away? The labeling is technically accurate. The impression it creates is misleading. misleading. For seniors with digestive issues who specifically chose Bolthouse, hoping for gut-friendly probiotics, this is a quiet betrayal. The green label and yogurt messaging create expectations the product doesn't deliver. The chunky blue cheese texture adds another concern. Those cheese chunks are heavily processed and sodium-dense. Each bite delivers a concentrated salt hit that the overall nutrition label undersells. Bolthouse Farms isn't the villain of the salad dressing aisle, but they're not the hero they claim to be either. The health halo obscures the reality. This is still a processed, industrial product engineered for shelf stability and mass appeal. The yogurt-based marketing creates an impression of gut-healthy goodness that the product simply cannot deliver after commercial processing and extended shelf storage. Ever noticed how these brands keep reformulating but never seem to get truly healthy? Tell us what you think below. And at number 1, the worst offender, Walden Farms Zero-Calorie Thousand Island. Walden Farms Zero-Calorie Thousand Island. The dressing that promises everything and delivers nothing. Literally. 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. It sounds like a miracle for seniors watching every number on the nutrition label. But when something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Let's start with how Walden Farms achieves the impossible. How can a creamy, sweet Thousand Island dressing contain 0 calories? The answer is buried in the ingredient list. Water, vinegar, cellulose gel, xanthan gum, sucralose, and a parade of artificial flavors and colors. What's missing? Actual food. Walden Farms isn't dressing. It's flavored water thickened with industrial gums and sweetened with artificial sweeteners. The texture is created by cellulose gel, a fiber derived from wood pulp. Yes, wood pulp. The sweetness comes from sucralose, an artificial compound that studies suggest may disrupt gut bacteria and trigger glucose intolerance over time. For seniors managing diabetes, the sucralose presents a cruel irony. You chose 0-calorie dressing specifically to control blood sugar, but emerging research indicates artificial sweeteners may actually worsen insulin sensitivity, making blood sugar harder to control over time. The 0 on the label isn't the victory it appears to be. The taste tells the truth. People who've tried Walden Farms describe it as watery, chemical, nothing like real Thousand Island. The creaminess is absent. The tang is artificial. What pours out of the bottle is a simulation of dressing, not actual nourishment. One reviewer described it as tasting like slightly sweetened water with a strange aftertaste that lingers uncomfortably. Another said it reminded them of licking a plastic container that once held real dressing. Here's the deepest betrayal. Walden Farms targets health-conscious consumers, diabetics, people on strict diets, seniors watching every calorie. They exploit the desperation of people who want to enjoy food without consequences. But by stripping out every real ingredient, they've created a product that provides 0 nutrition, questionable chemicals, and an experience that leaves you unsatisfied and reaching for more. And let's talk about what happens when food provides 0 satisfaction. You eat more of other things. You overcompensate elsewhere. The psychological impact of unsatisfying food often leads to worse overall eating patterns. Studies show that people who consume artificial sweeteners often end up consuming more total calories throughout the day because their brains never receive the satisfaction signals real food provides. Consider this alarming statistic. A study published in the journal Nature found that artificial sweeteners can alter gut microbiome composition within just 1 week of regular consumption, potentially leading to glucose intolerance, the very condition diabetic consumers are trying to avoid. Walden Farms promises guilt-free indulgence. What they deliver is a chemistry experiment that may be silently undermining your metabolic health. The 0-calorie promise isn't a gift. It's a trap dressed in orange packaging. When you strip food of all nutritional value, you're left with nothing but a simulation. Your body knows the difference, even if your taste buds are temporarily fooled. The aftertaste, the unsatisfying texture, the hollow experience, all of it signals that something is fundamentally wrong with what you're consuming. The 2 salad dressings that are actually worth it. Safe pick. Number 1. Primal Kitchen Ranch with Avocado Oil. Primal Kitchen Ranch with Avocado Oil. This dressing delivers what clean eating should actually look like. Made with avocado oil instead of inflammatory soybean or canola oil, Primal Kitchen provides healthy monounsaturated fats that support heart health rather than undermine it. When you open the bottle, there's no chemical undertone, just the clean, slightly nutty aroma of quality oil mixed with real herbs. The ingredient list is refreshingly short. Avocado oil, organic eggs, organic vinegar, and real seasonings. No high-fructose corn syrup, no artificial preservatives, no MSG, no mysterious natural flavors hiding unknown compounds. Every ingredient is something you could find in a home kitchen. For seniors managing blood pressure, Primal Kitchen Ranch contains 130 milligrams of sodium per serving, competitive with so-called healthy brands, but paired with genuinely beneficial ingredients. The avocado oil provides vitamin E and supports healthy cholesterol levels rather than disrupting them. The taste taste is creamy, satisfying, and recognizably real. When you drizzle Primal Kitchen on your salad, you're adding actual nutrition, not chemical simulations. This is what your salad deserves, a dressing that enhances both flavor and health. For seniors concerned about processed foods, Primal Kitchen is certified Whole30 and keto-friendly, meaning it meets strict standards for ingredient quality. Every bottle represents food as it should be, simple, nourishing, and honest. The company was founded by Mark Sisson, a former endurance athlete who became frustrated with the lack of healthy condiment options. That frustration led to a brand built entirely around clean ingredients and transparency. Safe pick number 2, Tessame's Organic Creamy Ranch. Tessame's Organic Creamy Ranch. Built on a foundation of organic sunflower oil and organic vinegar, Tessame's proves that clean ingredients don't require sacrifice. The creamy texture rivals conventional ranch, but without the inflammatory oils, hidden sugars, or chemical preservatives. Every bottle is USDA organic certified, a meaningful distinction that guarantees ingredient sourcing and production standards. For seniors tired of decoding complicated labels, that organic seal provides genuine assurance. Tessame's contains no soy, no gluten, no dairy in most varieties, and no refined sugars. The sodium content sits at 140 milligrams per serving, reasonable for seniors managing blood pressure, especially when the accompanying ingredients actually support cardiovascular health. What makes Tessame's exceptional is transparency. The company lists every ingredient clearly, with nothing hidden behind vague terms like natural flavors. When you pour Tessame's on your salad, you know exactly what you're consuming. For seniors who felt betrayed by decades of misleading food marketing, Tessame's represents something rare, a company that actually delivers what it promises. Clean ingredients, real flavor, honest labeling. The company started in a family kitchen and grew into a national brand without compromising its founding principles. That kind of integrity is increasingly rare in the food industry. Your salad should support your health, not sabotage it. With Tessame's and Primal Kitchen, you finally have options that honor that simple truth. Not all salad dressings are created equal. Some can put your health at serious risk. The brands you've trusted for years may be hiding sodium, sugar, and chemicals that work against your heart, your kidneys, and your medications. But now you know better. You know which dressings to leave on the shelf and which ones deserve a place in your refrigerator. The next time you reach for a bottle, remember what you learned today. Read the labels. Question the marketing. Protect your health. Because the best salad is one that actually makes you healthier, not one that secretly works against every healthy choice you've tried to make. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.